What's the wildest thing you've ever heard from someone who was usually very reserved? For 4 years, Mrs. Bennett was the quietest person at Lincoln High. She was our librarian, mid-50s, always wearing cardigans and reading glasses on a chain. She'd whisper, "shh," if you breathed too loud. Kids called her boring behind her back. Nobody paid attention to her except when they needed to check out books. Senior year, we had this overnight lock-in event at school, some fundraiser thing where we all stayed until midnight doing activities. By 11, most of us were just sitting around the library eating pizza because everything else was lame. Then, the power cut out, completely dark. Our phones started dying one by one because nobody had charged them. We all gathered near Mrs. Bennett's desk with the few flashlights the janitor found. Someone, I think it was Jake, said as a joke, "Hey, Mrs. B, tell us a scary story or something." She looked up from her book and smiled that small smile she always did. "I don't really do ghost stories," she said softly, "but I can tell you about the night someone tried to kill me." Everyone went dead silent. You could hear people breathing. She folded her hands like she was about to read us a fairy tale. "I was 19, she started, voice steady and calm. "Backpacking through Greece by myself. Stupid, I know, but I wanted an adventure." We all leaned in closer. "I needed to catch a ferry to Santorini. It was late, maybe 9 at night. This man at the port said he was a taxi driver. He offered me a cheap ride. His car looked normal enough. I got in. My stomach dropped just hearing it. About 10 minutes in, I realized we were going the wrong direction, away from the coast, into this area with no lights, no buildings. I asked him to stop. He locked the doors. Someone whispered, 'Oh my God,' under their breath. Mrs. Bennett kept going like she was discussing the weather. He drove for maybe 30 minutes, pulled onto this dirt road in the middle of nowhere, gravel crunching under the tires. I remember that sound. He didn't say anything the whole time, just kept driving. Nobody moved. Even the teachers in the back looked horrified. When he finally stopped, he told me to get out. He had duct tape in his hand. I tried to run, but he was faster. He taped my wrists, my ankles, threw me in the trunk. I heard him drive for maybe another 20 minutes before the car stopped again. I felt sick. This sweet old librarian who reminded us about overdue books was telling us this like it was nothing. "Here's the thing, though," she said, and her voice got a little sharper. "I noticed his side mirror was broken, hanging by a wire, and I had a compact mirror in my jacket pocket, metal edges." She held up her wrist and showed us a thin scar we'd never noticed. "I worked at that duct tape for an hour in the dark, cut myself pretty bad doing it, but I got my hands free. The trunk lock was old, broke it from the inside with my heel." Everyone was holding their breath. When the trunk popped open, I saw him standing about 15 feet away, facing the other direction. I grabbed the tire iron sitting next to me and ran straight at him. Hit him in the back of his knee as hard as I could. He went down, screaming. Mrs. Bennett said this without changing her expression at all. I ran barefoot into the woods, followed the North Star like my dad taught me when I was little. Took me 4 hours to find a road. A truck driver picked me up and took me to the police. They never found the man. The room was completely silent for a long moment. Finally, Emma asked quietly, "Why didn't you ever tell anyone this before?" Mrs. Bennett looked at her and smiled that same polite smile. "Because most people like me better when they think I'm boring. It's easier that way." The lights flickered back on a few minutes later, but nobody left her desk. We all just sat there staring at this woman we'd ignored for 4 years. Jake apologized for calling her boring earlier. She just laughed softly and went back to her book like nothing happened. After that night, the library was always packed. Everyone wanted to sit near her desk, but she never told another story. She'd just smile and say, "That's the only one worth telling."